So this is WindleyMania, and it's just me, Andrew, right here by myself. But not by myself entirely. I got a Laszlo with me, and it's awesome to talk to you, man. But
Hello, it's
you,
Laszlo from Hungary, Middle
right,
Europe.
from Hungary, it's really cool that you know,
Hmm.
and but mainly I'm talking about your EP that came out. When did it come out specifically? Like the
It came out in May,
May.
yeah, this year, May 2021, exactly.
But the project is called All the Round Objects,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
the EP is Popular Sci-Fi Concepts, and I've been listening to it the past few days. I'm really into it.
Oh,
So
I'm intrigued. Thank you very much.
yeah, yeah. So I have like how did this happen? Like what have you always have you played in like different bands and stuff? Like
Okay, so what happened here is I'm a very introverted man, like on level 10 or 20. And yeah, I had a band at the university, but it kind of just broke up with friends moving away and finishing university, graduating, and starting to work. And later on, I had my wife and two kids, and I started to realize, aside of having my day job, I need something for fun.
right,
So I started to record my old songs and started writing new ones. And we had a lot of talks with my friends about science fiction movies and science fiction stuff, comics, novels, stuff like that. And we came up with these cliche ideas of science fiction stuff like time travel, robots, and Nazi base on the other side of the moon.
right, yeah,
And we have written some songs and an EP about that. My friends have written the lyrics, and I made all the recording and guitar recordings and used software for drums. And I reached out to some people on Fiverr for violin and saxophone. And this is how this all came together this spring
cool.
for
So
fun.
right, but so you said it was like a collaborative thing between you and your friends, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Totally for fun.
Okay. But have before this, were you in any other projects or did anything sort of like this before, or is this like you know?
I have another project in my native language, Hungarian, where I turn contemporary poems to rock songs.
Oh, okay.
So that was phase one, just like in the Marvel universe.
Right. Yeah,
And
that I
this can be considered phase two,
yeah.
maybe.
Actually, I don't this I was trying to dampen this light behind me, so my Zoom background is the Kirby crackle, the Jack Kirby, his little design he would do for space.
Oh,
I'm trying to dampen this light that's like right above me. But I thought it would fit, sci-fi, sort of thing. So, but
it's a
yeah,
nice.
I mean, I'm a huge Jack Kirby fan too. So, I so the EP itself, like popular sci-fi concept, sorry. It, the is it sort of did you mention that it was like making fun of like cliches and stuff lyrically in a sense?
Yeah, I tried to do so. Yeah, because I think some of these concepts, or all of them, are so overused. It's so hard to see a good movie nowadays about time travel or robots. They are
Right.
turning. If I see another one, I think of it being a cliche. Not
Right.
not just a cliche, but the parody of itself, of the concept itself.
Right.
And there are so many bad movies about them.
Sure.
So I thought, well, yeah, why not? Let's do an EP about
Yeah.
this.
Uh, I mean, I agree to that. I mean, I feel like I'm really big comic fan, and I feel like some storylines they're really stretching it with just like what they could think of next. I mean, there are some right. I mean, Donny Cates is a guy I've mentioned on this show, like kind of forefront of like Marvel Comics right now. He's probably the most original guy, but yeah, I mean, just an idea inspired by an idea and of an idea, and it's sort of just all this big circle. So I definitely get it.
Is he a showrunner of a comic or a writer?
Uh,
Or
the most recent thing he did, he had a really big Venom run, and it sort
uh-huh.
of culminated in this King in Black arc where the yeah the Cenobites kind of, or not the Cenobites, that's Hellraiser, but the basically what Venom is like. There was like a god version, and it came and invaded Earth. But I guess that's sort of a cliche too. But there
Oh,
was like different like there was a layer of like personal trouble between the main character and his son. And I
huh.
kind of was really into that
Hmm.
aspect.
Yeah, it's interesting. Is that something I should look up?
I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, I think his whole Venom run was really really good. He did some Thor as well, if you're into that. So,
Oh, is that a
but
male Thor or a female Thor?
he did like the male one, yeah.
Ah,
Okay, so but
sticking to
Donny
classic.
Cates, yeah, uh,
Okay, I'm making my notes.
cool.
Perfect.
uh, so what what's some of like the like sort of the influences as far as the sound goes? Like I really like the No Robot song because it reminds me of like almost like Dinosaur Jr. in a sense, like some of like the more acoustic, like or maybe even like Jay Mascis's stuff, if you're familiar with any Dinosaur Jr. That's but it and that's definitely in my wheelhouse of what I like. So I mean, but
Very interesting. There is a site called Submit Hub where you can submit your songs and people tell their opinion about your songs. And you can also submit to playlists and curators. And I have submitted a lot of my songs, like 20 there, even the Hungarian ones or the English ones. And you are probably the 15th guy telling me that it sounds like Dinosaur Jr.
wow, that's
So
really
it
interesting.
must be something common. I looked him up and started listening to some of his songs, and I just listened two or three, and yet did not find a connection. So I think I will have to go deeper. What in what sense does it sound like my stuff, or how do I, as an amateur guitarist playing in my attic, how do I sound like him? So
uh,
this is something to look up for, pretty much.
well, Dinosaur Jr. is probably more known for like when they play, they're a really loud band. Um,
Huh?
but the thing is, they also have like these like other tracks that are uh, a little more like they have like a slight aggression to them, but they're a little more chill. And
Uh-huh.
and it's you doing vocals on the EP, right?
I am doing all the vocals, yes.
Right. And the way you double tracked it as well, like on both sides, it kind of it that's the style is really close to Jay Mask. Like it doesn't sound like you're like ripping them off. If that's not what I'm getting at, it's just very uh, it's like a familiar sound, and that's sort of
Uh-huh.
like what it is for me. But I mean, he has like his own like solo albums where he does like acoustic stuff, and if you were to, but I get that like someone telling you what your stuff sounds like, and you're like, where did they get that? Because I get that because
Exactly.
like maybe that's not what you were thinking of, and it's like I don't, but you know,
Exactly, because I was listening to a lot of grunge music, or
right,
more specifically post-grunge. So even though a lot of people hate Nickelback, I love Nickelback.
right, yeah,
And also my big other influences or the Oasis. band,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
United Kingdom. But Dinosaur Jr. is not so popular here in Europe.
Hmm.
It's something a niche band. So this is an area I have to explore. Why do so many people compare my stuff?
That's really like 15 other people. Like that's, I mean, yeah, I,
Interesting.
yeah. So Nickelback too, huh? That's, yeah, I mean, I can't
Yeah,
hate those hooks are great. I'll be honest.
yeah.
Like I
And
haven't.
I like that they also do not consider, or I think that other bands also do not consider themselves too seriously, but they admit it. So there's the song "The Rock Star." I just want to
Right.
be a big rock star, living hilltop houses and all the stuff. So making fun of themselves,
Yeah.
it's I can really I can really not compare, but yeah, I think they are on a right track in this 21st century, considering everything coming together, being an influencer band, being a stadium band, and making fun of it. That's perfect.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they've done some interviews. I'm also a guitar player, so like I like looking at other people's gear, no matter what they play, honestly. And I've watched some stuff with Chad Kroger, and I don't know the other guitar player in Nickelback's name, but them just talking about their gear and stuff, they seem pretty like chill, like relaxed guys, and like gotta respect it, you know.
Yeah, and I don't know whether you managed to read. There was a long Playboy interview with Chad Kroger like 10 years ago or 6 years ago. It's a long interview, like 20 pages or so. And you can see the rock and roll in him. So even starting the name of the band, maybe his father was saying that you get your nickel back or something.
Oh, like the name, the origin of the,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
okay,
all his stuff he did when he was young and he was a child, and again the whole interview is about making fun of himself and not considering himself too much
right,
and being together with assholes in my work all the time, and
right, right,
people are being too serious and thinking about the rules and regulations and processes all the time, and turning to something like Nickelback in the night. It's really make it's a great hobby, I think. And if
hmm
I can make fun of myself like that, I think it's liberating,
hmm
kind of making me free in the night in my attic.
right. I mean, you gotta have like time for that, and
I have
I,
serious time management processes built
yeah,
up, and time slots and schedules, just like this one.
right,
So I'm so glad that before work
hmm
we could find a time slot, and after your work, so
right,
it's
right,
perfect.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm planning ahead like 1 or 2 months. I have my calendar filled up with stuff.
That is, I I should really try that because I am on like not even a week by week basis of how I play. Like I'll have
Oh,
like some things planned, but like usually it's just like, you know, I'm working 6 days of the week. It's like I'm just gonna be there all day. I don't really know what else to do about it right now. But you know.
yeah.
And usually like some like the creation of this show and like, and practicing might be sporadic. Like we'll have like a goal, but like getting to that goal, it might be like sporadic, like
Uh-huh.
as to like building up to the, like, you know what I mean, like doing the things to achieve the goal, like those things are like practicing and recording and whatnot. It's very sporadic, But yeah, I really should get a calendar and
In
do what
terms
you're
of
doing.
goal, is there any particular goal
Oh
you
well, I
want?
mean, right now, I mean, we're you know we're planning on recording our own stuff as well, and we're supposed to be starting this week actually. So and it's like in our we practice in like we usually record this like in a storage unit, and we have like all of our gear in there, and it's like sound treated to an extent because we're gonna be recording live drums in there,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, it's but that's like the main goal right now is to get that done. But and I mean
I
all
think this
this,
is a this is a good goal because a lot of people think that I want to be rich or I want to have my songs on Spotify. But what does it actually mean? I think you have to have particular or written down goals like record an album. So I think you have probably a list of songs you would like to record, right?
yeah, I
And
mean we've have like these, you know, we have like 8 songs that we've had for a while. We've been practicing them. We played some at shows, and this is what's going to be on this thing. And then we even have stuff for like the future, like for future releases. But
yeah, this is perfect because now you have the schedule, like the schedule for recording, then mixing and mastering, and what else is needed, like a cover art
right,
to
right,
out, and then you can just publish it and play on shows, just like you mentioned. But even some of my friends say that I have 100 songs written, and I say, okay, where can I listen to them? Well,
right.
they are not in that state yet. Well, okay, can I listen to a demo? Well, I haven't had the time to record even one from those 100 songs.
Hmm.
And I don't think that's a good goal to have 100 songs in your mind
Right.
or on your laptop only. But recording an album, it's a pretty definitive schedule and a relatable goal.
Yeah.
So you plan to finish this album this year?
I mean, it's a like we had recorded an EP 3 years ago, and we recorded it, put it out, did a bunch of like run of shows out of town and stuff. And but that was like a time where the four of us had like way more free time, and
Uh-huh.
so it's I don't know if it's going to come out by the end of this year, but I would be very happy if like you know the process like started, because it's just been kind of a crazy year
Yeah.
for each of us. So I mean, you know, as long as the process starts, and I would like to get like at least the rhythm stuff done by the end of this year, like
Uh-huh.
drums and bass. But
What will be
that's
the title of the album?
the title. Uh, right now, it's well, a lot of people might not know this. I don't know, but it's motion pictures are your best entertainment. That's going to be the title
Oh,
of the and it's based off of this old in 1938 the American film industry was like failing, and so all the studios got together and had this like scheme to like get people back in the theaters, cuz there's the Great Depression was at a certain point, and the general public thought of like theaters as like a fad, pretty much like it was already not going to be like a it was going to be going away soon, just like a thing. But so all the theaters got together, and they had this like sort of like a quiz put together, and it was like it was a conglomerate of like 6 different studios, and they were all putting out like something like 50 films between September and December of 1938.
wow.
And the quiz was like, take this quiz and you can win money from $250,000. It
Uh-huh.
was like a cash pool, which in 1938, I mean, that's, you know, even if that's like $500, that's still pretty good, right? But it turned out like a lot of these films that were in the quiz weren't released, or the quizzes like were like the questions were like misspelled, or some of the answers were false. And then like, so it was pretty much impossible to answer this quiz. And then the people who managed to answer the quiz and get like all the questions right, their cash prizes didn't even make up to the amount of money they spent on movie tickets.
What a
So,
story.
but the advertisement was like 1938 motion pictures greatest year, and then it said motion pictures are your best entertainment. And I just,
Do
yeah,
you think is this quiz available on the internet somewhere?
that story.
The whole quiz you mentioned?
Oh yeah, I think someone posted it. I think if you just look up like 1938 motion pictures are your best entertainment, or you know, something along
So
those lines.
I suppose some of these movies were finished after that. So do you think today we could fill out that questionnaire and to,
Maybe. I mean, like, I again, some of the questions were like pretty messed up, either grammatically or like some of the answer. Like it was multiple choice as well, and so
hmm,
some of those were messed up, and then some of them never came out. So
uh-huh.
yeah,
So now we could call it a hoax, right?
yeah. I mean, you could. I mean, uh, I don't think RKO is one of the studios. I don't believe they exist anymore. So like that was Howard Hughes' old studio, and but
And how are your songs connecting to that era or the word back then?
I think it's just, I don't know if it's necessarily like any of the content in the songs. I think it's more of like just the idea of like 1938 ended up not being like motion pictures greatest year, but then 1939 you had Gone with the Wind and Wizard of
Oh,
Oz, and 1939 ended up being like way better. And I feel like that's like the story of like us in a way. Like we've had a couple of like rough spots past year or two. So I feel like with this release, it's sort of like, hey, here's like, you know, we finally did something after like, again, that last EP we put out was like 2018. So yeah.
will the songs differ in a way? Like there is a big alternative rock band, same motto in Los Angeles, and they just came out with a double album called The Original Motion Picture Soundtrack.
Oh, really? I didn't even
Yeah,
know about
and
that.
those songs differ a little bit, kind of like movies differ. And there is a love song, there is a song making fun about having a fight in a bar in Texas
I gotta
and
look into
stuff like
that.
that. It's a really great album. And what they did this summer, so again, they are based in Los Angeles, but they are a friend with a composer in Macedonia. So they traveled to Macedonia and they recorded the whole album, re-recorded in a live event with the Philharmonics in Macedonia. And there was a live gig on Eventbrite. Maybe it was Eventbrite. So basically streaming the whole thing. And for one price, for a one-time event, you could watch them performing this great rock, alternative rock album with a Philharmonic style big band. And it was so great,
That
so
sounds
great.
really cool. I gotta look into that. And I do like, you know, as you were saying, like songs, how the songs like reflected the like how, what movies and stuff like, and how they like sort of change stylistically. I'm really into that. Um,
And again, this whole album is so great. And one of the songs called "A Good Song Never Dies,"
okay.
and it's about how a producer from Hollywood or whatever big company, recording company, is coming to a band and saying your song has to be this and this and this and that, and
Okay.
they basically say no.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's
I think there's a band called Against Me. Um
against me.
and they had a record where they they got to a they used to be like a they were like a smaller punk band. They kind of blew up, and they definitely had like songs where lyrically you could tell that it was going on like just about like dealing with like record companies and A&R and whatnot. So I like that kind of stuff too. Just like, man, I'm really sick of this stuff, having the like, just the music business in general. But yeah. So with this project, you said it's just for fun, so you know not any ideas about any like live shows or live things like that.
I tried a few shows on the Instagram, on even YouTube, but I'm too introverted for that.
Okay.
So I don't really like to see my face on the camera or the pictures.
Oh, I'm sorry about this. I just you know
Oh
it-
no,
well, this is audio only, so hopefully
yeah,
that makes
yeah.
you okay.
We see each other during the recording, so that's perfect.
Right, right, right.
But for a big audience, I think my audio is enough.
Yeah, yeah.
And I found that Spotify is the perfect channel for me, or the perfect platform in that matter. I can just post my audio and people can listen to them. Or my main goal was to record everything and send it that way, share it with my friends, not just saying I have written dozens of songs
Right.
and you can listen here. And basically, that was the reason. I know that I will not gain too much money from it. So yeah, it's just for fun, and I think it's cheaper than medicines,
Right.
or they playing the guitar doesn't give so much addiction,
Right.
and it's not so harmful. And I think my family can relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, it it's something I've kind of I all of my gear and stuff is at the storage unit. I don't have any guitars in the house right now,
Oh
and I haven't had any in the house for several months, and it's
no,
definitely a thing where I'm like, I should really get one back in here because I feel like that would solve a lot of like some of like the stressful times I got going on. But you know, hopefully I'll get a guitar in here soon enough. But but do you know what Bandcamp is?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, is any of your stuff on Bandcamp?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, yes, yes. My stuff is available on Bandcamp, but I found that again,
you just the Spotify is
the
or
Spotify works better for me.
okay,
Maybe the playlist system
okay,
is
that's right.
better,
Yeah,
or just suits me better, or even the user interface. I can relate to that. I found that you need some kind of larger audience on Bandcamp,
yeah,
or a way you can connect to fans there, which I cannot really do.
right.
Maybe my listener base is not so huge, or my songs are not so catchy, or even not
I don't know the hook on the do's and don'ts of sci-fi. I
really.
I mean, I was into that. So uh,
So I
I
appreciate
don't.
you telling me. You may know that all this stuff are recorded with an acoustic guitar,
Uh-huh.
and I just distorted it with GarageBand on
Oh,
my Mac.
okay.
So it's not a real electric guitar. It's
I
a
mean,
this,
there's
this is my one of them, one of my
uh-huh.
acoustic guitars, and I just play everything on this,
Cool.
and I distort it later.
I mean, there's electronics involved, so I mean, you can get away with saying electric guitar.
Yeah, Yeah. Yeah. Computers in 2021, right? You can do everything.
Sure, I I, it's pretty crazy we're doing this. I mean, I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and you're in Hungary, and I'm
Yeah.
recording, and we're looking at each other, and yeah. So there you go, technology. But I don't think no robots though, right? No, no, none of those. But I mean, yeah, it, I really appreciate you doing this, Laszlo. It's
I appreciate you inviting me
yeah,
and again scheduling this very early time slot for you.
no problem for me. I'm usually up sometimes anyway. So, but is there anything else like you'd want to mention?
I have to admit that I am into some cheesy stuff. So I just watched this new movie on Netflix called Red Notice. Have you heard about it?
It's like the most I just saw like headlines about it being the most expensive Netflix movie, and there's like Dwayne
Yeah.
Johnson. I have not watched it though.
Yeah, I understand these stars, Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot, have earned $20 million for their roles. And maybe this was one of the causes of the cost.
Uh-huh.
So I just want to say to everybody who's listening to this that if you want to watch a fun action movie and nothing else, so you don't have to expect too much.
Right.
But if you are like having a hangover or want to do the ironing, which I do while watching TV, Red Notice is perfect for you.
Cool.
You have to know that Hungarian people really like to watch movies in Hungarian language.
Uh-huh.
So we have a serious process of famous Hungarian actors making what is that called, dubbing
Oh,
of
the
the movie.
overdub?
Yeah, in Hungarian.
Okay.
But this movie was so cool that I want to watch in English as well because I like Ryan Reynolds' own voice. So I plan to watch it for the second time in English.
Okay, that's cool. I mean,
So okay, it's not a Die Hard movie or not a Lethal Weapon,
uh-huh.
but it's fun. It's
Okay.
cheesy and it happens what happens, what you expect to happen in these kind of movies, but it's fun.
Okay. Real quick, what is the best sci-fi of all time?
Oh my god, the best side. Okay, so can I say a novel?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So there is a guy in United Kingdom, I guess, Ian Banks, and he has written a novel called The Player of Games.
Mm-hmm.
And he has written, well, he passed away, but he had written a lot of novels in this word he calls culture. Culture is a system of planets, and on one planet there is a game almost like chess, but this game rules how you can be a mayor or how you can be a president. So it's connected to politics. And one guy, the main hero of the story, is invited to this game because he is the player of games.
Okay.
And he has to go through the game playing chess, but it's not just chess, it involves with politics. And of course, the Secret Service is coming in and they are doing their secret plan. It's amazing. And I understand it's in the works of being turned to a movie,
Oh, okay.
but it can be almost as hard to turn it to a movie like the Dune
Right.
series. So I think we have to wait a few years to have that, but it's in the works.
It sounds like I have enough time to read it if it's before the movie
Yeah.
comes out. So,
you can read it. Yeah.
so I probably will, but because I've
So
never been.
what they did in Hungary, this publishing agency bought the whole series, and Player of Games is the maybe the third or the fourth book of this series, but the best one.
Okay.
So they published it first without the context. They published it first, and I just said, "Wow, what a book!" And after that, I bought all the books of his author, and they were mediocre.
That's really a shame. You find like a diamond and then everything else is just
And
the
I even
soil.
sold all of them through
Uh,
Facebook and other apps, but I kept this one because it was so catchy and it is so good. So I don't think anyone should read them in the order or in the correct order you find on Goodreads or Amazon or whatever. I think you should start with the Player of Games, and later on you can think about reading one or two other, but the
sure,
Player of Games, it's perfect.
sure. Well, I'm gonna check it out. But do you for for all the round objects, is there like social media or anything for people can go and follow that?
Yes, I'm available on Instagram, all around objects, and of course Spotify, because some people consider Spotify as a social media. And yeah, why not?
Right.
You post things there and people accept or consume things there, right?
Right.
So in a way, it can be considered social media.
Cool.
And I'm also available on Twitter, again, all around objects. You can find me there.
Cool. Yeah. I'll make sure I'm gonna get all the links and when this gets posted and everyone will be able to find it. But
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, I really appreciate you hanging out and talking about the EP. I'm really into it. I hope
Thank you
more
very much.
people pick up on it, and it's
Thank
it's 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 really fun listen. And
I'm flattered.
yeah, so popular sci-fi concepts, all around objects. Check it out. And this was WindleyMania, and this is what I usually say at the end of these shows. For more Windley crap, garbage, whatever you want to call it, at Windley_band on all the social stuff, and then check out WindleyHub.blogspot.com to read some weird stuff. And goodbye.
Goodbye.